For the sake of all of us.
Doug found out that I was bicycling several times a week, and just as he mentored in his life and did peer-to-peer mentoring, Doug would also improve the lives of those around him. And in my case, he saw that I was riding on this heavy clunker of a bike, and he said, "Carl, you know, if you told me you rode once a month, I'd say this is fine, but you're riding 4 or 5 times a week. You need a good bicycle." He took me to a bike shop. He fixed me up. I know the guy. You know, you speak to this guy, and before you know it, they were measuring, you know, millimeters in the hinge of my knee to give me the perfect alignment for a bike. But I got tremendous pleasure out of that bike and out of biking. And occasionally I would bike with Doug, who with no complaint would go at my pace because there was no way I could go at his pace. And occasionally along the way, as I saw somebody else mention in an anecdote about Doug, if somebody was in our way, he would let out a siren from his mouth that was remarkable in its verisimilitude. And they would be like, what the hell? Oh, and they would be looking for the cop car or the ambulance, and it was Doug. One of my favorite things about being on a corporate show with Doug, an industrial show, and I did many of them with Doug, was he was interested in the place that he was. So if you were in Arizona, Carl, let's go out and see, you know, this mountain. Let's see these hills that glow, you know, orange. If you were walking down a New York City street, the tour guide Doug would come out and he'd say, "Carl, do you see that facade? That's just gorgeous." And then sometimes he'd tell me a story behind it, and like, well, in 1890, you know, they only built this kind of thing, and there'd be some wonderful story. And as I say, he was seemingly everywhere. Sometimes in a very literal way, in a way that was great, because if he was up in my neighborhood, he'd give me a call and say, "Well, I just happen to be in the neighborhood. If you can get together, let's get together." I always made a point that if I were down near 6th Street, I would call Doug, and it felt like it was an open door house, which is sort of something I always wanted in my community of friends.